Friendo, Steve here, and welcome to the Going In Raw podcast. It's the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course, taped live at the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. Also at the YouTube these days, youtube.com/Steve and Larson. So on top of everything else, so Larson's out today. It was sort of my decision. He just sort of left it up to me. Do the show, don't do the show. We have a count out that's up right now. It is top 10 ways Vince McMahon can ruin the WWE now that he's back. And it seems like some of these are already coming into play. We're going to talk about that on the show today. We've got a Smackdown recap. We've got an AEW Rampage recap. Oh boy. Ruby Soho with the Crimson Mask making all sorts of types getting their feels over the weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about that. It's actually kind of a packed show today. You know what, man? We got to take vacations sometimes. Enforcer's got his job. I reached out to only one other person besides the Enforcer, and it was Alex, Queen of the Ring. She said, dude, I'm sorry, you're getting short notice. I hit her up last night. I was like, you want to be on the show? She's like, dude, I'm a busy person. I can't do it. But I do want to say the reason why I'm bringing up Alex is because she has a tremendous new podcast called Queen of the Ring. So I want you guys to go check that out. It's available, I think, wherever podcasts can be found and on her own YouTube channel. So check that out. But beyond that, man, I'm just going to do it by myself. I got my own channel called Wrestle Juice, so this is kind of no different than that. We're going to answer some of your questions. We have got a first time ever Zoom call. Triple H is going to Zoom in. I am going to talk to him, and he's going to preview tonight's Raw. This has never happened before. So Larson, he's on his way back from vacation right now. He's not going to be home for a couple hours. And look, here's the thing: we're older. I'm not going to ask Larson to get off a plane from he's in SoCal with the family, getting off the plane. I think at 1 or so. I'm not going to ask him to then come home, go to his bedroom where he does the show from, Zoom in hours after we usually do. I'm not going to ask him to do that. He wouldn't ask me to do that if I was coming home from vacation. But look, man, I'm tired. Y'all know how tired that guy gets in the first place. If you want him extra tired, extra grumpy, and he's got to talk to Triple H, who will probably just prod him about taking JR calls. But we're getting a Triple H call. I'm going to talk to Triple H today. I'm a bit more equipped to do this solo because I've been doing the Wrestle Juice stuff. You don't know, check out my Wrestle Juice channel, youtube.com/WrestleJuice. So yeah, we got that going on today. We got all sorts of news, of course, the latest saga, because we need a saga. Vince McMahon back at the WWE. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We might as well just hop into it. Let me bring this up here. Oh, on top of all that, by the way, been dealing with internet issues. So if this show just ends up cutting out, I'll probably just end up being like, fuck it, I'm going to call it a day. God damn it. Anyways, so one thing we have not discussed on the show yet, and maybe tomorrow on the Tuesday show, we'll do a quick QA with Larson just to get his thoughts on it as well, because Going in Raw is me and Larson every once in a while. It's been a long time since I've done a solo episode, but I know you guys will probably want his thoughts on this as well. For today, you just get me. You just get Steve here. So, Kayfabe Smayfabe in our Twitch chat says it'll cut out right before the Triple H call. No, I promise you, we have Triple H lined up. If that coincidentally happens, I don't know what to tell you guys. Oh, man. Anyways, this is serious business here. We're going to talk about the talent meeting that was held last week on SmackDown. So, of course, last week we talked extensively about Vince McMahon's return to WWE and all the promises made that it was specifically and exclusively to help facilitate the sale of the WWE. Well, it's been all of 10 minutes or so, and it seems like Vince might already be getting antsy to put his fingerprints all over the WWE once again. But before I talk about Vince, word got out Friday that talent meeting was being held before SmackDown that night, and Fightful Select got the details on what the game had to say to the roster. This is what Fightful Select had to say. Triple H said that he's been assured that Vince McMahon's return is to see if the company should sell and help lead the charge and figure out who they might sell the company to if they do. He made an attempt to squash the story of a sale being, quote, a done deal, and said even if it happened, it would take a lot longer. What calmed many talents' concerns was Triple H stating that none of what is going on with Vince McMahon will change the creative process he has in place or the team that helps put it together. Triple H did keep it open and say anything could change, but right now, Vince McMahon defers final creative to him, to Triple H. Triple H also said that while he and Vince McMahon may have discussions, he makes the final call. WWE was adamant in an official sense to us, meaning Fightful Select, not Steven Larson. We don't talk to WWE officials except Triple H at the end of our episodes. WWE was adamant in an official sense to us, to Fightful Select this week, that Triple H was still running creative. Triple H also thanked the talent for all they do and said he understood there was some concern. The lingering doom that must be happening at WWE right now is got to be pretty palpable, I would think, because if history is any indication, Vince McMahon clearly could just, I mean, what is Triple H running by him? What is Vince, hey, Gunther versus Braun Strowman. What's to stop Vince from just simply sending a text message to Triple H? Change the finish. Now, I don't know how cognizant Vince McMahon is of the morale situation backstage. So maybe it's a situation, oh God, this would mean he has some ounce of self-awareness, which I really don't think he does. That morale would go down if it's obvious that Vince McMahon started booking things from his phone to Triple H. I mean, honestly, I feel like it's brace for the worst, hope for the best type situation, which is all you could do in this situation. In terms of the creative output we see on the show, Vince McMahon is apparently back in his office there at Titan Towers 2. This was according to Dave Meltzer with the Wrestling Observer Radio. These transcripts come to you from me because this morning I transcribed a bunch of this, but I'm going to tell you right now that it's not verbatim. I'm going to give you, so there's obviously conversations between Meltzer and Brian Alvarez are very start and stop, and that Alvarez will chime in with either a joke, a jab, or his own insider info, and just his own analysis of the situation. But this is essentially what Dave Meltzer said. Again, this isn't verbatim, but I think I got the gist of it. He hasn't got in creative yet. The thing is, of all the things that were said when Vince said he came back, it's only been a little over a week and everything has changed probably more rapidly than I had expected. With Steph leaving, he says he hasn't been to TV yet, and I stress yet. There are rumors running around that he will, but it's not like there's a date. Who knows, but there's that feeling that Vince is going to want to go out on TV and get the big reaction. He is in the office. He's talking about things other than the sale. Probably there will be more Vince fingerprints as time goes on. If he wants it, he'll work to get it. He may just do it slowly. End quote, or end transcription. Let's just pause there for a second. If he wants it, he'll work to get it. He may do it slowly. It's been barely a week, and he's already running creative things by Triple H. Steph is already gone. Nothing here is moving slowly. I have this sense of dread that by the end of the week, Vince will have taken over creative. Dave continues, Nick Khan is there running the show, but that's today, and who knows what tomorrow brings. Look how quick Steph was gone, and nothing should surprise anybody at this point. There's probably a lot of nervous people. He has a different eye for talent than Paul, and there's a lot of guys that Paul sees something in that Vince won't. A lot. And we all know this. We all know that, end quote, and transcription. We all know that Vince McMahon, that Triple H has brought back a ton of people that Vince McMahon let go of. Now, obviously, a lot of these people, maybe you can only hope that Vince McMahon thinks to himself, hey, I wasn't able to get it done with Bray Wyatt. I thought Bray Wyatt gave kind of an interesting promo this week on SmackDown. I'm going to talk about that here in a second when I get to SmackDown, because I get the feeling I kind of know where they're going to go with this. But maybe, for example, a guy like Bray Wyatt. He's a top merchandise seller for WWE, makes them a bunch of money. They put him in this Mountain Dew pitch black match, which, they got a bunch of money for that. People love Bray Wyatt. Vince McMahon and Bray Wyatt never really, I'm going to say never got along, but towards the end, seemingly they didn't get along. Bray Wyatt would express, this is all from reports, Bray Wyatt would express creative frustration. Vince McMahon would say, you gained too much weight. So maybe if the idea is, hey, I don't have the best relationship with some of these people, but I know they're making money for the company, which is one thing that Vince McMahon has always looked past his issues with certain talent. Look at Ultimate Warrior. How many times did Vince McMahon bring him back, and how many times did Ultimate Warrior screw him over? No showing, demanding more money, demanding that Hulk Hogan type 1-800 line, 1-900 line money. And he kept on bringing him back. Maybe, just maybe, it won't be a, oh my God, how dare you bring these people back? It'll be like, okay, this guy has relationship with these talent, and they're integral to our programming, so we'll just keep them around. Again, that would require some amount of self-awareness on Vince McMahon's part, and I just don't think that he has it. According to PW Insider, Brad Bloom, who is pretty much Vince McMahon's chief of staff, has been spotted at WWE headquarters last week. Bloom had departed the company, but is expected by many to be returning. We're also told that McMahon's administrative staff, who had exited after his retirement, are also expected to be returning in the days ahead. We've heard conflicting reports on whether McMahon has returned to Titan Towers. We were told a week ago that everything had been prepared for his return and that his office had remained untouched during his exodus from the company. So, to me, the bigger issue with Vince McMahon returning to the office has nothing to do with creative. It really even has nothing to do necessarily with the people who have been returned and their jobs at risk. Although that's a close second to what my biggest concern is. To be honest with you, creative is actually kind of far down in terms of my concerns for what's going on at WWE right now. The biggest concern is the whole reason Vince left in the first place. And that's he's a nightmare to work with. He is a walking HR disaster. Allegation after allegation after allegation. All the shit we heard about Johnny Ace. All the shit we heard about Vince McMahon working with people and how kind of disgusting he is. That's sort of the bigger issue. If he's there in the office and now he feels bulletproof because the allegations in his mind were not serious enough for him just to walk back and resume control of the company, that's going to be the bigger problem. He's going to feel untouchable, even though they're seemingly, according to the letter from the board of directors to him, there is still non-public information that is apparently some dirt on him that is still outstanding. So, I mean, look, man, we can bitch about the creative aspect of things, and we're totally within our rights as fans of these wrestlers to do so. But the bigger issue is the people working there at his office are now gonna be, or in the vicinity of his office, are now just gonna have to deal with the human being Vince McMahon. And I use that term kind of loosely, given what we've read about these allegations. Guy is a walking nightmare to work with, to be around, to exist around. That's the biggest issue that I could see with Vince McMahon's return to the WWE. It's the people that have to work in his vicinity. There's no word yet. I'm sorry, there is word. So far, he hasn't returned to TV, as Dave Meltzer says. He doesn't see that happening yet. But again, things change quickly. We got a big Raw coming up, I think, next week. Raw 30, Raw Triple X. Excuse me as I take a sip of water. We got Triple X. We got Raw Triple X coming up soon. And you know that he's going to want to show up for that. I know that there was a rumor out there about, rumblings about bringing him back at the Rumble. I'm not really aware. Like, I read that report. I don't necessarily know, how much veracity there is to that. Wait, is Raw 30? Oh, shit. Raw 30. Is that tonight? No, Raw 30 is not tonight. That's next week, isn't it? I don't know. We're going to have a Raw preview later on. That's not tonight, is it? When is the Raw 30th? Somebody here in chat, let me know. Anyways. So, yeah, I don't know. I think this is next week. Okay. People are saying next week. All right. Thank you very much. That's what I thought. I got my days confused. So, yeah, we got Raw 30 coming up next week. I mean, and by the way things are moving, he's going to open that show and he's going to close the show. Oh, man. Triple X going down. So, anyways, I don't know. What do you guys think about this Vince McMahon situation back in the office? We need to do like an over-under bet. How long is it going to be between Vince's totally and completely running creative? Also heard that Shawn Michaels is going to be at Raw 30. That's not surprising. That dude's like super ingrained in the company now, running NXT. I notice we got 474 people watching on the YouTube right now. Hey, do me a huge favor, please. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up. Christian Lopez here with a super chat says, third man enforcer. Enforcer, he's got a day job. He even told me, he says, I can sketch out a window for you. I can sketch out some time and do. I'm not gonna have him do this and do his regular job. It's a Monday. He shouldn't even be happy MLK Day, by the way. Nobody should be working on this day. I don't consider this work, though. I love this stuff. Oh, man. Anyways, yeah, GT Racer here on Twitch chat has it right. Raw 30, Vince takes another crappy stunner. Even that wouldn't be worth it. I'm happy with that one at WrestleMania. That was just bad enough. Anyways, if you want to hear more about our thoughts about Vince McMahon and what he could do to the WWE, go check out our Count Out episode. It went up earlier today on YouTube. Should be out there wherever audio broadcasts can be found. Podcast. Showing my age right now. Let's turn to the WWE creative side of things. We might have what could be a potential WrestleMania match brewing. Fightful Select has learned that WWE had at least planned to film something with John Cena and WWE United States Champion Austin Theory while Cena was in for the December 30th SmackDown show. Theory was originally scheduled to main event the Toronto live event that night. That always makes me wonder that WWE, they'll run live events the same night as like a SmackDown. That's a little weird. But they still do that shit. Theory was originally scheduled to main event the Toronto live event that night in a cage match with Seth Rollins, according to Fightful. However, Theory was pulled from that show to travel to Tampa, where he was set to film a segment with John Cena. We aren't told if that was to be digital for future use for 2K. 2K 3? They're supposed to have like a Royal Rumble, like Day of Royal Rumble trailer or something like that. Some sort of announcement. But the segment was filmed, according to Fightful Select. We can confirm WrestlingNews.co's report that as of November, there were loose plans for John Cena versus Logan Paul to take place at WrestleMania internally. But 2 months later, we don't know where that stands. I mean, look, if they're not going to have a match at the Royal Rumble, Theory's already confirmed for that, for the actual Rumble itself. So Theory keeps on coming out saying the champ is here, the champ is here. I don't know how much longer it's going to take Logan Paul to mend that knee of his, but really you need to push forward with an Austin Theory storyline. Have him beat John Cena at WrestleMania. That makes the most sense. You want to build Austin Theory. He's your future. And so, yeah, it seems obvious, especially with all the teasing of the champ is here stuff. I mean, what are they going to do it at a Elimination Chamber? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we're going to have John Cena versus Austin Theory at WrestleMania. I mean, honestly, like, I know that Vince McMahon, he probably really enjoys doing the creative aspect of things. But if something's not broke, why fix it? But then it's Vince McMahon. He probably thinks it's broke. Speaking of which, SmackDown saw a fantastic match between Gunther and Braun Strowman over the Intercontinental Championship. Went through several commercial breaks. I thought it was a really, really good showing from both men. You know, when Braun Strowman has a good opponent to work against and a really well-booked wrestling match for his size and his, you see the guy run, and it's obvious it hurts him to run. Braun Strowman can put on a freaking good match, and he did that with Gunther. Of course, Gunther is like a world-class wrestler, so if you have somebody like Gunther in there to work with, that obviously helps. But I thought this was a really strong story they told in the ring. Gunther sent his dudes, Imperium, away to have this match against Braun Strowman. They did get involved, but in a very basic sense. In the end, it was just Gunther working that shoulder over and over again with Braun Strowman. He had injured it a couple of weeks ago, and Gunther just targeted that and went after him, won a big match on SmackDown. I thought that was really good. Probably the most important thing on SmackDown, though, the continuing saga of the Bloodline. We had Sami Zayn being told by the wise man Paul Heyman that Roman Reigns wanted Sami Zayn to go up against Kevin Owens, 1-on-1, mano a mano. And Sami was like, okay, cool, we can do that. Sami Zayn was on the verge of beating Kevin Owens, potentially with a haluva kick. He had Kevin Owens on the proverbial ropes. He had it all loaded up, ready to go. And then the Bloodline show up out of nowhere, attack Kevin Owens, who gets a DQ win over Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn, for the first time, oh man, hesitant to throw up the ones. He's like, what are you guys doing out here? So I'm trying to piece this storyline together, man, because it is intrigue after intrigue. And a lot of Twitter, detectives out there showing a screenshot towards the end. So the Usos and Solo attack. Sami Zayn's like, what the heck? I had this one. I was ready to go. I was going to do it by myself. They put Kevin Owens through a table. And they sort of, hey, Sami, throw up the one. So Sami throws up the one. He's not into this. He was dead set on doing this by himself. He wanted to prove it to Roman, to himself, that he could beat Kevin Owens. He was there. And I think this, I don't know, man, like the split obviously, hasn't happened. This is a big, big story beat. And I'm trying to piece together where this goes. Because Sami was complicit to a degree in the Bloodline, but there is clearly some hesitation on his point. And it seems, after all this convincing that Kevin Owens is trying to do to Sami Zayn, is Sami Zayn coming to the realization now that these guys are simply manipulating me? That had I done this, because Paul Heyman said it, what better way to show appreciation, respect, and love to Sami Zayn than to go out there and let him do it by himself? That could be true. But then you send the Bloodline out there. Doesn't that directly contradict Roman's words? Doesn't that show Sami Zayn that he doesn't appreciate him? That he's simply using him? That he's manipulating him? Fascinating stuff. It's just really, really, really good stuff. Beyond the fact that we just got like a killer match between these two and a DQ finish that didn't really disappoint because we got to see Sami's reaction to being manipulated completely and clearly out in the open. So again, more intrigue. We'll see what happens next week with all that. But with next week being the go-home episode to the Royal Rumble and Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns having a match at the Rumble, it's going to be really interesting to see how all that goes down. Maggie here in the Twitch chat also has a terrific Twitter thread about Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens and how that story has progressed throughout the years. So that's really good stuff. We also have sort of further evidence that the titles, the tag titles at the very least, are being split from each other, because Adam Pearce has announced that we have a tag team tournament in place starting next week to determine number one contenders for the SmackDown tag titles. So he did that on Raw already, where he had the tag team gauntlet match basically at Judgment Day 1. They're now the number one contenders for the Raw tag titles. We need number one contenders for the SmackDown tag titles. And so far we know we've got Drew McIntyre and Sheamus taking on the Viking Raiders next week. Round one of that tournament. Whoever wins that tournament goes on to face the Usos for the SmackDown tag titles. So again, some, foreshadowing that the titles are probably going to be split, period, point blank there. Roman Reigns at some point is going to have his title split. I am assuming it's going to be Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble, gets to pick which title he fights for, and he's going to choose the WWE title. He beats Roman for that. Maybe they can somehow convince Roman to stick around long enough, hold that Universal title, beat Bruno's record. Maybe. I think that's a big caveat, though. If he remains Universal Champion, but he loses along the way, I don't think Bruno ever lost along the way. So I don't know if they're going to keep him around for the Bruno thing. That would still be another 5 years as Universal Champion. That's not going to happen. Or will it? Let's talk about this Bray Wyatt promo. So Bray Wyatt comes out. He gets in his chair. He's like, man, I got this Mountain Dew match. Pitch black Mountain Dew match. No lights on, so you're not going to see nothing. He's got this weird match with LA Knight. LA Knight dropped like a Twitter promo. Really nicely filmed one, though. Talking about Mountain Dew, how he can't wait for the Mountain Dew Pitch Black to come back. During the stream, during the Royal Rumble stream, we'll have to do a taste test of that swill. God, it probably tastes horrible. Maybe not, though. I don't know. I need to be careful. I need to watch out for that because Mountain Dew came knocking on our door. It was like, hey, we want you guys to hawk some pitch black. Like, just shoot in my veins. Straight to my veins. Go ahead. Anyways. Vash says I'm more of a Code Red guy. Oh, my. Anyway, so this was kind of interesting, though, because finally Bray said something. He sort of got to the point of all this. Since Extreme Rules, he sort of made the point, and the crowd was like, okay, cool, whatever. But I think I know what they're doing. So he says, basically, sometimes you forget who you are. It takes a small push in the right direction, and all you have to do, as he's been saying, as Uncle Howdy's been saying, is revel in who you are. And all of a sudden, I remember all the things I lost. And he goes through the various iterations of the Bray Wyatt character. I am the Eater of Worlds. I am Uncle Howdy. I am him. And I think he means the Fiend. He doesn't want to say his name. I am him. I am Bray Wyatt. And when he said all that, it made me wonder, are they going to do a Faces of Foley type thing? Is Bray Wyatt gonna fight LA Knight at the Royal Rumble? And then is he going to show up as the Eater of Worlds in the Rumble? Is he going to then show up as Uncle Howdy in the Rumble? Is he going to show up as the Fiend in the Rumble? Are they going to try to craft some stories where you get the Faces of Wyatt? Calls himself the face. Doesn't he call himself? No. Who calls himself the Face of Fear? Isn't that Bray Wyatt? No, probably not. Who was saying that the other day? I don't know. Lost my train of thought. This is usually where Larson would pick me up. Anyways. So no, I don't know. I think that could be kind of interesting. I think that'd be kind of interesting if they do a Faces of Foley with Bray Wyatt. I think it'd be kind of cool. Who called himself the Face of Fear? Was it Bray Wyatt? I don't know who that was. Anyways, it was Bray? Okay, there we go. Bray called himself the new Face of Fear in his Undertaker program. Thank you. There you go. All right. Alexa Bliss called herself the Face of Fear? Oh, that was just in that promo the other day. Okay. All right, look at that. I don't need the Larson one. I got Twitch chat. Anyways, we got a poll here in our Twitch chat. Pick a version of Bray. Who's winning? The Fiend. Everybody loves the Fiend, really? I thought the Fiend was pretty cool. I liked when Fiend was breaking people's necks. I thought that was cool. Oh, Dark Dank Lucha has it right. Beefy Dubs from our We Book Raw show. Yeah, all right. Anyways, let's kick off the SmackDown recap. Like I said, we had Gunther versus Braun Strowman. Gunther's targeting Braun's injured shoulder the entire match. Not really letting Braun get a lot of stuff in. Eventually, he was able to power out of like an armbar or something and make his comeback. Imperium tried to interfere at a certain point, but Braun just sort of punched them out of the way, and they went back. Strowman eventually hits his power slam, but the shoulder is too wrecked. He's too much pain to make the pin, like in a timely fashion. Eventually he does, but Gunther kicks out of that. Gunther hits a bunch of splashes on Braun. He goes for another one, but as he gets to the top, Braun goes up there, gets up on the second rope, and he's trying to hit Gunther with a superplex. But Gunther's able to sort of power out of that and starts working Gunther's shoulder, hits a chop on him, and then he just takes Braun's arm at the wrist and just cranks it against the ring post. Braun's writhing in pain at that. He's basically knocked out from the pain. So Gunther goes back down. Braun's still up on the second rope. Gunther sort of goes under him and hits a powerbomb from that second rope. And that powerbomb from Gunther is enough to get the win. He gets the pin and he beats Braun. I thought this was a spectacular way to book this match with Gunther and Braun Strowman. You look at a guy like Braun Strowman, it's like, man, how is he going to win without some cheating? Really wasn't a lot of that. It was just Gunther, took advantage of the fact that he was, targeting Braun Strowman's shoulder from like weeks ago when they triple teamed him. But leading to this match, I thought this was a good one. I did. I mean, it's similar. I like that. I just want some logic in my shit, It's like when Raquel Rodriguez had her arm wrecked. Ronda Rousey took advantage of it, made her tap out. I thought it was good stuff. Anyways, after that, we had Sami Zayn backstage. He goes up to Paul Heyman, and Paul comes out. Sammy wants to go inside and talk strategy with Roman Reigns, but he's like, they're not here today. He says, Paul's like, yeah, no. And Sammy was like, hey, I want to talk strategy. We got the Usos, we got Solo Sikoa. They're all going to come out there with me. Paul says, yeah, I figured we'd do the same thing. Everybody'd come out and help you. But Roman said, what kind of love would I be showing Sami Zayn if I doubted him? He's going to do it alone. And Sammy's like, okay, all right. Understanding that you can't say anything to that. So he's got to accept it. He has to do the mental gymnastics to be like, yeah, okay, that works. So he says, yeah. He says, you know what? You let Roman know. Good decision. After that, we had a Rey Mysterio promo. Rey comes down. And by the way, these are not verbatim notes. I hastily put these notes together this morning. So Rey comes out. He talks about how shitty his life has been because his kid is acting like an asshole. He says, Dom thinks just because he attacked me, he spent a couple hours in lockup, that he's a thug now. He says, but I'm going to get my life back on track. I've got goals now. Rey Mysterio has goals. Very happy about that. He says one of them is winning the Rumble. After 17 years, I did it. I came out number 1 or 2 or whatever. I think it was number 1. And I won the Royal Rumble 17 years ago. Dude is not aged a day. So Cross and Scarlett come out. And Cross says, we were backstage hearing you talk about goals. And he's like, a guy like you, Rey, you need goals. Because someone like you would have a hard time peeling your broken ass out of bed otherwise. I feel that way sometimes, to be honest with you. He says, we all remember that moment 17 years ago when you run the Rumble. He says, must have been a great moment to share with you and your kid. Wait, Rey, why are you looking at me like that? Oh, that's right. You didn't share with your kid because you're a deadbeat. He says, who do you hate more, Rey? Your son for not growing up to be just like you, or you for failing to raise your son to be just like you? Rey's had enough. He attacks. Tries to hit a 6. My cat is scratching on the door, but she's going to have to learn. I don't have Larson here to pick me up, so I can't walk over there for 10 seconds. Leave you guys just hanging here. I'm going to continue with the recap. She's going to have to sit outside the door. Anyways, Rey attacks, tries to hit a 619. Scarlett trips him up. Cross is able to lock in the cross jacket. So I've been waiting 10 years to do this, Rey. Backstage, Maxine Dupree. I'm assuming they need to give Cross at least like a win here. Like Rey can win in the end, I guess. But like this needs to be a feud that you really build up Cross, and he can't be taking a loss like he did to Drew McIntyre. This has to be a big feud that he actually wins. Patty Swan says, give us a commercial. Yeah, let's see if YouTube is telling me to put on a commercial now. No, they're not. Anyways. Yeah, no, they are. It says now will be a good time to insert ads. I'm not going to do that to you guys. Backstage, Maxine Dupree and Emma are giving Liv Morgan some shit about wanting to be number 1. Rightfully so, by the way, because it's a terrible idea. Raquel shows up, says, shouldn't you want to come out last? And and she basically, it's a backhanded compliment, says, you're small. You need the advantage of coming out last. I'm big, and this is my first Rumble. I was built to win this thing. And then Liv has this great moment where she says, hey, Raquel, I went to a palm reader the other day. See, look at my hand. Look at what this line says. And Raquel puts her head down to look at the palm, even though it's clear what she's going to do. Whoop-ah! Liv smacks the living shit out of Raquel. And Liv's like, let's have a match tonight. And Raquel's pissed off. She's like, why isn't nobody respects the fact that I'm huge around here? And then Liv just sort of laughs at her. So we get that match a little bit later on. First, we have a little tune-up match for Tegan Nox, Xia Li. This is a fairly quick match, about 4 minutes or so. 4 minutes with these two is really good stuff, though. I mean, they could have given this more time, but Tegan Nox gets the win with the shiniest wizard. I thought it was all right. Thought it was good stuff. After that, we had a recap of last week when the Usos defeated Sheamus and Drew. And then we get what amounts to Coliseum home video exclusive of what happened after the show. In essence, the Viking Raiders attacked. And so now we get a Viking Raiders like filmed promo. They're having one of their Viking campfires. And they say a bunch of Viking shit, calling out Drew and Sheamus specifically. So speaking of Drew and Sheamus, after that, they're with Adam Pearce. And they're he says 4 minutes. What is this, Wrestle Kingdom? We had a much longer women's division match with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, which is actually pretty decent, but no, I feel you. Anyways, Drew and Sheamus are with Adam Pearce, and Drew is like, man, we got to get at these Viking Raiders. And he chops Sheamus, and Sheamus is like, nah, we got to get the Usos first. And he chops Drew, and Drew's like, I want the Raiders. And then Sheamus is like, listen, you got to respect your elders and your betters. He's like, there was a bull and a young bull. And Drew's like, stop telling stories. And then Pierce is like, listen, next week, I'm starting a tag team tournament where winner gets a shot at the Usos for the SmackDown tag titles. Next week, you get the Viking Raiders in round 1. So both guys are happy. And they talk about having banger after banger after banger. And I don't know who's going to win this, but it should be Drew and Sheamus. They seem to be on the same page these days. They seem to be getting along. I don't want to see them feud. I just want to see them pick up gold. I can't think of a better team to pick up the SmackDown tag titles than Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. I'll be honest with you. Nobody should beat these guys. Nobody should have beat them when the Usos fought them last week. These guys are so huge and they're so overpowered. It really should be like a two-man power trip with these two. Have Sheamus pick up the IC title he never got. Have Drew pick up the Undisputed Championship from Roman or somebody else at some point down the line as their tag champions. Dude, book that shit for like, I don't know, SummerSlam next year. That'd be amazing. For Money in the Bank. How about that's the Money in the Bank main event right there? That's like Money in the Bank. You get the Money in the Bank match. Drew McIntyre wins that. Meanwhile, on the card somewhere, Sheamus wins the Intercontinental Championship. They're both tag champions. And then Drew cashes in the UK. I know it's London. It's not Scotland, but it was Wales last time. In the UK, close enough, Drew and Sheamus become the two-man power trip. That'd be sick. The Banger Brothers. And then getting their banger buzz. Anyways, after that, we have the Bray Wyatt promo. I already sort of went over this. The only thing that I didn't add was he says, I know who I am, but who are you? At Royal Rumble, it'll be my true rebirth, a baptism in the dark. As for you, LA Knight, know this, son. When the lights go out, you should run. No words from LA Knight this week, sadly. It really needed a cut to him backstage down in some Mountain Dew. Oh, yeah. About to go in a diabetic coma. All this sugar in this can. Yeah. Pitch black. That's what I'm going to be seeing when I go into a coma from all this sugar. Anyways. After that, we had Sami Zayn interrupting a Kevin Owens interview. I love it because, like, right after Bray Wyatt does his promo, it's all, like, spooky and atmospheric and shit. It just cuts back to Kayla, and she's like, wow. What a statement from Bray Wyatt. It's a very Ron Burgundy-esque thing. Anyway, Sammy shows up to a Kevin Owens interview. He says, you know, you couldn't just leave me be. You couldn't just stay on Raw. And Kevin Owens was like, I was on Raw. You guys showed up. The Bloodline showed up. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this match. I didn't ask for the Cena match. Roman Reigns did. He's using you. And Sammy's like, look, I've heard this a million times. I've heard this a million times. How many times do you have to see Roman hug me? How many times do you have to see the Bloodline and I getting along? This is my family, and I'm proud to handle this business night. Sammy is totally sold on him being given the responsibility, the respect to take Kevin Owens on one-on-one. Excuse me. Anyways, oh man. After that, we had Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan in a match. The main point of this match, I kind of appreciate this match because there's a couple different stories going on, and I fully expect, as long as Shane McMahon doesn't show up at the Rumble and start rewriting everything to like take stories that have been building up out of the Rumble, I fully expect Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan to sort of extend the story in the actual Rumble match. I always like those little mini stories that they tell that build to it. But in any event, Liv at one point ends up sort of sending Raquel Rodriguez over the top rope. And Raquel makes this realization, commentary, talks about it. Oh my God, if this was the Rumble, Liv would have eliminated Raquel Rodriguez. Her entire thing was, I'm built to beat this thing. And in a regular match, she can't even stop herself from getting sent over the top rope by Liv Morgan. Raquel Rodriguez ended up getting the win with a Tejana Bomb. Liv had set up a table. And she went up to the top, but Raquel rolled off the table, got in the ring. Liv Morgan tried to hit a crossbody, I think. Raquel Rodriguez just sort of swatted her down, picked her up, hit a Tejana Bomb to get the win here. I really want to see that table spot. You shouldn't set up a table unless somebody's going to go through it. Yeah. So anyways, let's see here. After that, we're backstage. Sonya Deville is bitching to Adam Pearce about her loss. She's like, I want a rematch. I'm going to call my shot right now. And Pearce is like, okay, wait, dude, no. She's like, you let Charlotte do whatever you want. She came out and did it. And he's like, okay, well, here's the difference. Charlotte came out, called her shot, and she won. You did the same thing, but you lost. You don't get to then do a rematch for that. White Brownie here in our Twitch chat. Thank you so much for this. Says, post-match, Liv said she didn't mind losing because she proved she can get big wrestlers over the top. See, I'm okay with that kind of loss. You're telling a larger story here, building to something bigger. That's okay to take that loss to Raquel Rodriguez. So anyway, Sony says, look, I'm going to get my rematch one way or another, and I'll make it official. I do love that they always reference that Sonya Deville used to be Adam Pearce's either equal or even sometimes acting like she was his superior as a WWE official. I like that history they have there, and they reference it. That's the thing. If Vince comes back, if Vince is there, he's going to be like, no, we don't need to reference that. Nobody's going to remember that. And yeah, I should point out the Liv and Raquel match was actually really good. Let's see here. We have a quick super chat here from Glass Joe. Says, I'd have loved for Roman to give Sammy a title shot, believing full well that he'd win easily, only for Sammy to win, causing chaos in the bloodline. Man, yeah, I think that'd be amazing. I think like Sammy winning, beating Roman would like send the crowd going crazy, obviously. But I'm just really interested to see how these dynamics are going to play out. Because at one point I was thinking, man, I think it'd be kind of cool for Sammy to sort of win over the rest of the bloodline and have them turn on Roman Reigns. I don't know. I don't know how that would play. Like if people would be really into that, but I think they'd be really into it. As Sammy is the boss of the bloodline, Roman saying, do you want to be me? Yelling at Sammy, do you want to be me? Doesn't it kind of make sense for Sammy then to be like, yeah, I could be you. I could do that. After seeing that whenever you win, you basically have to cheat to win because like Solo Sikoa shows up for the Drew McIntyre match, et cetera, et cetera. Paul Heyman and Kevin Owens in the Last Man Standing match. I think that'd be kind of fun. I like that. Anyways. Moving on. So back from commercial after Sonya saying, I'm going to make this happen. She makes it happen because she attacks Charlotte Flair, who's wearing, by the way, he just looks absolutely killer in this like pink, like a chrome type outfit, like bodysuit. Looks like a superhero. Anyway, Sonya Deville is just absolutely like laying into Charlotte. They just have this absolute drop, killer brawl backstage, being pulled apart by refs. Triple H loves his pull apart brawls. God damn, another pull apart brawl. Anyways, let's see here. Back from commercial. Oh, we already got that. Then we got that Cody video, the Cody Rhodes return video. Apparently, according to I think it was Sean Ross Sapp, he's been working with Joe Gacy and Carmelo Hayes, I believe, are the two names that he's been working with upon his return. Those are two good names to be working with. Let's see here. After that, we had the main event, Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Like I said, man, just a great match, a terrific match. All sorts of callbacks. These guys have tremendous chemistry, obviously, probably best chemistry in wrestling. So like I said during the intro here, Sami has Kevin Owens on the verge of a haluva kick. The bloodline attack, and Sami's like, what the fuck? What's going on here? I had this one. This was the whole point of me doing this. And so they attack him, and they're just like no selling all of Sami's concerns. They're like, no, man, it's all good. It's all good. Come on. We're the ones. Throw them up. The crowd's chanting we're the ones, which adds another layer to it because Kevin Owens is supposed to be the good guy here, but they're so behind Sami, and they're like, yeah, come on. It's the bloodline. This is what you want, Sami. This is what you want. Sami is realizing this is not what he wants. And once you make that realization, I think this match was that realization. Once you make that realization that you're not going to be your own man, that you're not really going to have the respect. And that's what Sami Zayn has wanted this entire time. He's simply wanted the respect. Doesn't even care about the titles. The only reason why he'd want a title is for the respect that it comes with. That's what he wanted with the Intercontinental Championship. For all those years that he was chasing it with his camera crew and all that. He wanted the respect that comes with it. People pointing out the little moment after they put Kevin Owens through the table. Kevin Owens sort of grabs onto, he's holding on to Sami's boot as potentially a sign. Are they in cahoots? I don't think so. I think that'd be kind of cheap if they're in cahoots right now. Maybe after this match. Anyways. We also had an AEW Rampage. Oh, boy. Twitter came out in force on this one. I actually thought this was a killer episode of Rampage, all things considered. Because there was like story stuff going on. There was a killer main event, just an absolutely killer main event. The street fight between Ruby Soho and Willow. My God, there was so much blood in this match. It was awesome. But yeah, the blood, we'll talk about that in a second. I guess you can call it controversy. Although when the people creating the controversy are, I don't know what the word is for these people. Women shouldn't bleed like that in wrestling. It's not real. It doesn't work. It makes me squeamish. It's exhausting. It's just exhausting. Anyways, I thought the match was killer. But no, I thought it was good. We had a title defense. We had a couple cool promos. We had the Acclaimed. Can't go wrong if you have the Acclaimed. And then, oh man, we had a killer match with the Kings of the Black Throne against Kingston Ortiz. Any episode that has Eddie Kingston on, I'm happy with. Neckbeards. You know what? I don't want. Maggie says neckbeards. I don't want to be rude to people who have neckbeards. Some people just, that's all they can grow. So that's what they grow. Is there another Twitter losers? You just call them losers? Yeah, I guess. Anyways, so it kicked off with Darby Allin defeating Juice Robinson. I thought Juice Robinson got way too much offense in this. But that's sort of a Darby Allin match. I say that because I'm not the biggest Juice Robinson as a character fan. But that's any Darby Allin match. Is Darby Allin getting the shit kicked out of him. And then he's able to come back and get the win. It was actually fucking killer. He had a scorpion death drop from like the top rope or the second rope or something. What would Ellie and I call them? Incels. I forget what incel actually means though. Anyways, then he hits a coffin drop, but that scorpion death drop was great. Sting comes out, celebrates with Darby after the fact. And then it turns out that Sting, I think he's looking to, I haven't read the article yet, but apparently he's going to call it quits like sometime this year or the end of the year, something like that. Had to drink some water there. Again, all these pauses here, me drinking water. My vocal cords are always on the verge of these days because I'm old and I've used my voice way too much. My vocal cords are always on the verge of going out. I need to get some more ginger tea. That stuff works wonders, but it's been a couple days because I forgot to get some at the store. Anyways, that's Steve. Moving on, we had a Book of Hobbs promo. This dude's going to start eviscerating people. Jorge says an incel is an involuntary celibate. Is that what it means? Is that's actually what that's hilarious. A misogynist never been with a woman. Oh. Yeah, the misogynist part. Yeah, they suck. After that, we had the Acclaimed. They were going to do their Hollywood Walk of Fame thing. I want to know if they're actually going to get a Walk of Fame with the scissors. I don't think they are, though, now, because the Ass Boys come out. Max Caster did his rap. Apparently, I saw this on Twitter. Apparently, Max Caster messed up his rap and had to go back and do it again. But so at the end, when we see the televised version, they didn't show the mess up, but he had like a big goofy grin on his face. I thought it was pretty cute. I thought it was good. So anyways, Caster does this rap. He makes a reference to Vince McMahon, to selling out for blood money. And they're right on the verge of doing, like, all three of them, Daddy Ass included, are going to do like the scissors thing in the Walk of Fame cement. And they just have like the plaque out there on the stage rather. The Ass Boys come out and they're like, "Oh no, we need to do this. This should be our thing. The only reason you guys are popular is because our dad is with you." And Daddy Ass says, "Okay, you guys have a good point." And then he turns to the Acclaimed and he does a wink. And so they're like, "Okay, go ahead, guys." So the Ass Boys turn around and they're about to put their handprints in the thing, and they're both wearing gray sweatpants. So the Acclaimed pull the sweatpants down, they pants them, and of course they got, one dude's wearing a thong, the other guy, he's got some. I wish they would have had tidy whities on, because there's nothing funnier in the underwear realm than tidy whities. Involuntary celibacy. Anyways, I thought it was a pretty funny moment. After that, we had an interview with Mogul Affiliates. Joining the Mogul Affiliates, rappers Quincy and King Combs, sons of Sean P. Diddy Combs, Puffy. And he just says we're going to have a good 2023, and we're going to do it with a lot of violence. Brittany says, you see Max posted him flipping off the Vince star. I did see that. Thank you, Maggie, for the Urban Dictionary definition link there. Let's see here. After that, we had Kings of the Black Throne. Alistair Malachi Black and Brody King taking on Kingston Ortiz. Of course, Kingston Ortiz, their relationship seems to be hanging on by a thread just because Kings of the Black Throne attacked one and not the other weeks ago. I forget exactly what happened. In any event, they can't get on the same page. Kingston won't trust Ortiz to tag in. He wants to do it all himself to prove to Ortiz that he can be trusted. But Ortiz is like, well, you're not tagging me in, so you can't be trusted. Anyways, Kings of the Black Throne get the win here. Malachi Black hits Kingston with his Black Mass. Ortiz tries to attack Malachi because he's the one who ducked it. It was meant for him. He ducked it. It hits Kingston. Ortiz tries to attack Malachi. Malachi throws him out of the ring, goes for the pin. That move is incredibly strong, so you can wait a couple seconds before you get the pin, and you still get the pin there. And then we had our main event. Ruby Soho and Willow doing their best Dudley Boys impersonation against Jericho Appreciation Society's Anna J. A.S. and Ty Mello, who is the Street Fight. They had a cool little intro thing. They did the interview. Or Ruby said, "You pretty princesses." What did she call them? I don't know. I didn't write it down. But they were ready to throw hands. And, things kick off. The Ruby and Willow attack Anna and Ty from the outset during the entrances. And then they just go to town. Man, this match had everything in it. It was rough. It had a bunch of chairs in the ring. There was a terrific thumbtack spot towards the finish. The spot that Ruby got busted open in, I don't think it was quote-unquote hard way because they put a garbage can over Ruby Soho. And then I think it was Ty Mello came off the apron and did like a double stomp on it. And then when she gets out, she just got so much blood coming down. And it was absolutely terrific. It was a great moment. Here's the thing that I guess it's kind of the consolation prize when it comes to AEW in the women's division, is that I think that they get criticism, rightfully so, because Tony Khan seems to want to stick to the single women's match on Dynamite, even though it's a 2-hour show. And there's always a women's match on Rampage, but it's like, hey, Rampage is 1 hour long. Maybe add more to Dynamite. And I think that's a valid criticism. I think that should totally happen. You have seen with the arrival of Saraya, more segments being given to the women's division. I think that's terrific. Any progress is good progress. I do appreciate, though, that he does whenever, and I'm not going to say all women's matches, but he will let them go out there and make a real statement from time to time. You look back at the Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa title switch on the Dynamite following the pay-per-view, was it last year? And it was a big deal. So they do get the opportunity to shine, not often enough, in my opinion, but something like this to let them go out there and just have a fucking match where Ruby's got her fucking, her crimson mask going. Looks amazing. Destination Unknown on Ty Mello into the thumbtacks for the finish. A lot of criticism also being levied at the Willow Anna J powerbomb spot. Here's the thing. Like, I get the criticism. It's a tough spot. I'm not a wrestler, so I'm not going to make a comment on like, look, I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. I want the wrestlers to be healthy. I want them to minimize the risk, right? Even if this was dudes doing this spot, I'd clutch my pearls, right? Because it's like, oh man, I don't like power bombs in the first place. But then do a power bomb off the stage onto a table. But there's so many disingenuous arguments against this on Twitter. One person I saw, Mick Foley wouldn't even do the spot. Yeah, he would. I was watching it. I watched so many Mick Foley spots that were way worse than this. So no, that's wrong. That's dishonest. If you're going to make an argument, just at least be honest about it. I saw another argument on Twitter. There wasn't even padding there. Yeah, there was. It was clear as day. The spot looked like it sucked for the person, for both people taken, especially Anna J. I hope she's okay. But man, yeah, it was a rough spot. I'm not a huge fan of that spot in general, man or woman. But they're wrestlers. They know what they're doing. You know, like I'm hoping that the people involved, if they had a problem with it, they just stepped up and said, hey, is there a different way we could do this? Can we not do it this way? Can we do something different that's, you know, not as risky? But don't tell me Foley wouldn't do this. Don't tell me that Foley wouldn't do this. Because Foley would have insisted that it be on concrete. So yeah, MJF. Now somebody brought this up too. MJF defended the spot on Twitter, and like I said, it looks like it was a spot that, man, oh man, that was a brutal spot to take. But all respect to the people doing it. All respect to Anna Jay for doing it, because man, oh man, that looked rough. Yeah, Foley would only do it if there was barbed wire there. Exactly. Foley wouldn't do it unless there were explosives down there. There were actual explosives. Don't give me that shit. Oh man, but no, I thought the match was great. It was brutal. It was awesome. The general concept that I saw out there: women shouldn't be bleeding in matches like this. What the fuck? I saw my wife give birth to my child without any pain meds. Don't tell me that they don't have a higher pain threshold than we do. Sorry, guys. Holy shit. Anyways. Oh, man. Let's answer some questions. How about that? Let's answer some questions. Let's see here. I got two threads here. I got one on the Patreon. I got one on the YouTube. We'll start off with the Patreon. Patreon.com/Steven Larson. Watching a childbirth is no joke, man. Holy shit. That shit is crazy. It's nuts. I was trying not to look what was going on down there, but the nurse tapped me on the shoulder and then pointed it to me. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Not look? I had a hard time even fucking looking at that. Oh my God. Eli McCaig says, after the interference from the Bloodline in his match, do you still see the Bloodline turning on Sammy, or will it be Sammy turning against the Bloodline? I don't know. Trip Rogers is in my YouTube chat right now. Yeah, Trip. I bought this the other day because you stole mine at the last Action Coast Wrestling show. God damn it. I don't appreciate that, Trip. I don't. And what's worse, Trip was starting a fight with my 7-year-old child in the crowd. My God. The depravity of Trip Rogers. Yellow Flash says, at this point, would y'all be interested in seeing Roman break Bruno's streak? Yeah, I would. Because that'd be some balls to do that. Why not? Screw it, do it. Cameron says, was that Braun's best match ever? No. Braun's best match was the match he had right before he left the first time, or was released the first time. It was the triple threat. It was Braun, Lashley, and was it Roman? I think it was Braun, Lashley, Roman. Oh my God. Braun was doing crazy shit. It was awesome. Alex Foster, what wrestler besides any rich ones would you want to see by WWE in storyline? He says Big Body Javi. I think Big Body Javi has a future, man. I like that guy. Just wait like another year or two of him doing promos and stuff. I think he's going to be big. I think he's going to be good. Let's see here. David Matushek, with women main eventing Dynamite and Rampage in recent weeks, when do you think would be the right time to headline a pay-per-view in AEW? I mean, anytime. I would say this. If you're ever going to do, I think that Jade Cargill should have that TBS championship, beat everybody, and then move on to the AEW Women's World Championship, main event a pay-per-view doing that. I don't think Tony Khan's going to do it. I don't. But I think that'd be great. Ty Moore, is Larson refusing to have a call with JR the new Larson refusing to do the Too Sweet? And if so, is there a goal we could reach in order to get him to do a call with JR? That's a question that has to go to Larson. I'm sorry, I probably should have mentioned in the Patreon thread that he's not going to be here today. But I don't know if there's some goal business-wise that would make sense for Larson. Then maybe. Yeah, I like Big Body. Let's see here. Luis Areza says, who is on the Mount Rushmore of people who constantly had the best themes despite either changing them or switching companies like Bray Wyatt or Baron? Wow, what a great question. Mount Rushmore are people who constantly had the best themes despite changing them. I mean, he mentions Bray Wyatt. Bray's got to be on there. Every single theme Bray has had has been terrific. Who else? I know a case can probably be made for Edge. Edge has had multiple really good theme songs. Oh, Triple H is top. Spideyville has, yeah, Triple H. Triple H is on top. Absolutely. Yeah, maybe CM Punk. CM Punk could be there too. I guess maybe Orton. A lot of people say, oh, Jericho. Jericho's going to be there too. Lavender says Jericho. That is absolutely correct. Yeah. The Hardys have had plenty of good themes too. Those are some good names out there. I'm going to head over to the YouTube and look at some of the questions we had here. By the way, I hope the people on Twitch appreciated the new Friendo public network. It's old, but it's new. And all I'm doing, like, we've got so much content from over the years that I started doing a thing. I put together a YouTube playlist, and then I'll just run it late night on Twitch. And so you get like a whole sampling of us over the past 13 years or whatever it's been. If you're up late at night and you're bored, you want to watch some stuff, some curated content, check out twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Let's see here. Neely Bobber says, with the Wyatt story slowly falling into place and the introduction of Uncle Howdy as its own character in the ring, do you think they'll do... Oh, hell. Do you think they will do the same thing with The Fiend? Rather than Bray becoming these characters, they manifest to be their own entity. I think they're going to do a Faces of Foley type thing with Bray. I sort of mentioned that earlier in the show. But I don't know. Maybe, look, I don't know. They hired, Dutch from Ring of Honor. Maybe he'll be under the Fiend costume. Because he has sort of the same body look as Bray. I could see maybe he's going to be separate things with the idea that, it's Bray, but then they can also come out and fight Bray. I don't know. Good question. Let's see here. Itami says, prediction. Do either of you think, well, it's just going to be me today, Itami. Do you think the remaining Vince scandals / hush money allegations that were hinted at released before a sale happens? If so, do they jeopardize his reclaimed position or do they blow over like Vince has suggested? I don't think they could do anything but bad. I don't think that could do anything but bad. Enforcer, what's up in the Twitch chat? Man, I didn't want to have you pull double do today with your real job and then this, and we'll probably stream tonight. No, man, just you're good. I've been going at it for about an hour now. We're about to wrap up the show. I'm about to bring Triple H on here. We're going to have a conversation. I think it'd do nothing but bad. If whatever this non-public information is, I don't think it could do anything but bad. Kayfabe says, with the recent heel turn from Hit Row, how do you like the idea of them modeling themselves after Death Row Records and have Top Dollar act more like the Suge Knight character? Please have them dangle somebody out of a window. Suge Knight, man. Scary dude. I remember being a teenager hearing about that guy. Man, he's scary. Like, really? Who's a bigger HR nightmare? Suge Knight or Vince McMahon? I don't know. That's a debate for the ages, I guess. Let's see here. St. Jimmy, what do you think will be the biggest storyline of the year? Or what would you have as the biggest storyline? This year? I think it's going to continue to be the Bloodline. In terms of on-camera stuff, it's going to be the Bloodline. Because that's going to last a while, I think. I don't think that's all going to wrap up at WrestleMania. I think it's going to keep going somehow, some way. Ickis Dog says, what would you like to see John Cena do at WrestleMania? Austin Theory. Austin Theory. I think it makes sense. I like it. Jason Lewis, who do you think are Triple H's picks to win the Rumble matches? Who do you think are Vince's picks? This is the one year where I think they both might be the same. At least the men's. It's going to be Cody. It's 1,000% Cody. As far as the women, I think Triple H's pick is Rhea Ripley. I think she's going to win. I think Vince will be on board with that. I don't know how Vince can look at Judgment Day and not be like, God damn it, this is good. This is better than any of the supernatural stuff. This is good stuff. Vince has to see that. He's got to see it. Let's see here. Marvin say, what are your fantasy book numbers 1 and 30 for each of the Rumble? So one's got to be Liv. 30. That cat is very, very interested in coming in here. 30 for the Rumble. Seth. And then Cody throws him out. Sorry, Maggie. 30 for the Rumble for the women. Number 1's going to be Liv. Number 30. So Rhea's going to win. Number 30. I don't know. Number 30. Number 30. You know what? I'd say just maybe Rhea at number 30. Like, what if Liv survives the entire thing and it's just her, and then Rhea comes out at number 30 and Rhea eliminates Liv? That's some heat right there. Tim Morris, do you think Triple H would consider a role in AEW if he's ousted from WWE? If AEW purchased WWE, yes. If he's ousted from WWE, no. No. Adam Hebb says, I know this isn't wrestling related, but how did you meet Larson? We met. So Larson and I met in, I believe, physics class in 1994. I was a junior. He was a senior because I'm pretty smart. But we didn't really become friends then. When we were we had a mutual friend, Jeff. And when I started, after I graduated high school, I was hanging out with Jeff a lot, and we were mutual friends. Larson and Hilton were like his mutual friends. And so we'd all hang out. We'd all watch wrestling. And then when I saw him in my astronomy class, when I started junior college, and I didn't know anybody else there. Like, I had a friend who was in there for a couple days, and then she stopped going. And then I was like, oh, I know that guy down there. So I went to go hang out with him, and that's where we really became friends. So astronomy class in 1996. Let's see here. Ethan McHugh, what are a few pros and cons of WWE going private? From a business perspective, I mean, from one of the pros for Vince McMahon and one of the cons for the rest of us is that he's a bit more protected from things like shareholder lawsuits. In terms of pros and cons, like beyond that, I really don't know. I'm not that well schooled in the business aspect of things to understand, okay, what would be, like, could they go, like the idea of them going TV 14 if they wanted to. They'd have to worry about the stock price and how that would be affected. But that's more of an advertiser situation. That's more like, dealing with the networks and whatnot. Let's see here. Oh, we got a $20 super chat from King Mello. Thank you very much. That's so nice of you. Thank you very much. Jordan says, would Kenny Omega get a larger reaction than AJ at the 2016 Rumble? I think these days, yeah. I think so. They're on cable TV. He was their champion for a long time. He's one of the featured players. I think he's got a higher profile now than AJ did back then. I believe that. Marvell says, should FTR had won the NWA tag titles, or should they before they possibly go back to WWE? I don't know. Like, if NWA had continued the trajectory they had after their first couple pay-per-views and then being on YouTube with that Into the Fire, then I think that maybe I think getting on Fight probably hurt their situation, and they made some questionable decisions, putting the title on Tyrus and the other guy. Why is his name, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now because my cat's trying to get in here, and I got Triple H on the line. He's about to show up here. Let's see here. Dan Hursty, should Private Party, Wardlow, etc. look at going to WWE if they can get a better deal there? Sure, absolutely. Alex Foster, Wardlow has less leverage these days though because AEW has not booked him well over the Trevor Murdoch. Thank you very much. Yeah. Let's see here. Alex Foster. Stinky Bojangles here in chat says, no way, sadly. Too many WWE fans hate Kenny Omega for some reason. They would love him if they went to WWE. That's how those fans work. Alex Foster says, if Jay White does end up getting kicked out of Bullet Club, who should be the new leader? Doesn't have to be anybody currently in the faction. It should be Evil. House of Torture should be the top thing in Bullet Club. Santiago says, if the Usos lose both set of titles before facing Sammy and Kevin, where does the storyline head from there? I kind of feel like Sammy and Kevin's storyline and Roman's don't need to have titles involved because it's all about relationships and respect. It's about Sammy's identity crisis. Feeling the need to be part of the bloodline, a family that he's not a part of, a fake family, turning away the family that he has, Kevin Owens. And it has nothing to do with titles. Doesn't need to have anything to do with titles. And I don't know. I don't know where the story goes. I really don't. Let's see here. Zyshawn says, who do you think will win the Rumble match? I think it's Cody and Rhea. He says also, who do you want to win the Rumble match? I want Cody to win the Rumble. I want Cody to win the Rumble. And I want Rhea to win the Rumble. I want those two. Oh, this is a great idea here, though. I like this. Burt Winning says, I want Naomi to be number 30 and win. That way she could win the title from Charlotte. That's a great idea, Burt Winning. That's a great idea because they never really went back to that. Logan says, when will the calls to Triple H stop? Joke is over. It is over. It's not a joke. There's no joke here, but it is wildly over. So if your concern is that they're going to stop, they're not. Unless Larson eventually agrees. Oh man, for good old JR to show up. All right. Are you ready? We have 600 people watching here on the YouTube. We're at 220 likes. I think we can get that up to 300 likes on the YouTube. For the first time ever, Triple H is going to call into this show. Let me see if I can figure out how to say. The thing is, because of this new layout, I don't know how it works with where his picture shows up. That's the problem here. So give me just a moment here. Let me see if I can figure that out. No paperwork today. This is me and Triple H. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this. Where's the button for the Zoom here? Hello, oh God. Oh, hell. Oh, geez. Oh, my God. Hi, Triple H. It's Fat John. Listen, I know your name. It's Fat John Cena. All right? I know your deal. I know I'm not a fan of yours. We already have established a relationship. Me and Steve. I am Don't Steve. Don't interrupt. Listen, I know your name. It's Fat John Cena. All right? That's your name. And I did not sign up to talk to you. I've got enough going on in my life right now. I know, and I feel Don't really interrupt. I'm sorry. Listen, I've got so much going on right now. All right? I've got so much going on. You have no idea what kind of pressure I'm under. I know. I mean, I've read all the reports about it. I know what you've read. All right? And it's all true. Here's the thing. It's all true. Every bit of it is true, and I'm having a hard time. You know, we've got this raw Triple X. I had so many important things I was going to book for the show, but then Vince came back. It was going to be full penetration. Yeah, let me ask you about that because I think that full penetration. Sorry. Listen, here's the deal. I'm going to get off this call, and tomorrow, if Steve isn't here. I am Steve. Don't interrupt. All right. I don't care what your name is. You're Fat John Cena. All right, listen. Here's the deal. Tomorrow, it's either Steve. You know who I'm talking about, the old leathery guy with the beard. I know he's so leathery, and he looks like a professor that might have discovered Atlantis. So. Don't interrupt. Sorry. I know who he is.
I want him back. I don't want you. I am so stressed out right now, and it's not gonna work anymore. So here's your Raw preview. It's gonna suck because Dad keeps on texting me all this stupid stuff. Goodbye.
That didn't go well. Oh my God. Wow. I really tried. I really tried, man. But he doesn't want me. He just wants freaking Larson. But he thinks it's Steve. He calls Larson Steve. But man, that dude really does not like being interrupted, huh? Man, oh man. I did my best. I mean, you guys, Vash says I kept interrupting. That's the problem. I didn't realize how difficult it was not to interrupt him. I feel like I'm just having like a regular conversation. That's what I just feel like I'm having a conversation. But I mean, all this ridiculousness of Larson saying, "Oh, you know, I mean, look, let's be real about what Larson says about me. He thinks I'm doing a Triple H impression." I hope that was enough. I hope that was enough for you guys, for Larson, for anybody who thinks that I'm doing my Triple. Look, I have a Triple H impression. You guys know that I do impressions. I do that. But it's so cartoonish. It's over the top. He's so sad. He's so sad. Man, oh man. Jeez. Anyways. That's going to do it. Hopefully, if you stay tuned through the whole thing, I was a suitable replacement for the duo of Steve and Fat John Cena. As Triple H likes to say. But yeah, so anyways, what is this? Brittany says your voice wouldn't be able to handle being Steve and the game at the same time, not without the ginger tea. I know. I couldn't have done this. You heard me several times during this episode today. My vocal cords gave out. Man, oh man. Trip Rogers says, from one trip to another, thank you, Triple H, haha, Fat John Cena. Wow, Trip. Really? At 2? It's not bad enough you steal my hydro flask? Had to get a new one. Need to get new stickers for it. Anyways, thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. I know Larson does as well. We'll be back tomorrow, the two of us, for our Raw review. And until next time, until then, we'll talk to you later. Maybe tonight we'll do a stream over at the MF Steve Here Twitch channel. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.